introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, all right. I am Marcia, and Mandisi is my second name, Mabaso. I'm married to a Mr. Mabaso, but I was born at Jali. I am the author for the Adventurous Nun, Stories My Family Told Me. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt. Yeah.
So Marcia, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for availing yourself. So today we're talking about your book. But before we carry on, is this your very first book?
Yes, it's my very first book.
Okay, all right. So today we're talking about your very first publication, and of course it has to do with an aunt of yours who was a nun as well. Talk to us about this book. What is interesting about this book?
Yes, I would say everything is interesting about it because I wrote it. Yeah, so the book is about the life story of my grand aunt. She was my mother's aunt. So her and my grandmother, they were sisters. So my grand aunt, she was a religious sister, a nun, as most people would know it. And what is interesting about the book is the fact that she shared openly for young people that want to become a nun what it had been like for her to be on the different missions. She lived in different countries, and at times she would not be able to see her family. She would not be involved in the milestones as much as she tried to be involved in it. So in the book, what you will find is in detail her missions, and you'll also find some life stories, how everything joined together, because she was a prayerful woman. She loved her family dearly, so she always wanted to be involved and to contribute. What is interesting about the book is that I'm not Roman Catholic, I am a Christian, and I tell the book from my side. I tell the book as someone who's not Roman Catholic, who wants to find out what is a nun, how does the Franciscan Missionaries of Mary feature into the Roman Catholic Church. So in the book you'll find me answering the questions, how does one become a nun? Step by step, I laid out there, and also the structure of the Roman Catholic Church, and also the different things, the missions that my grand aunt was involved in. What is also interesting there is that there are different stories that I could not believe as much as I wrote them, not because they were not true, because of the type of experience that my granny went through. She was chased by a lion, or rather she was followed by a lion in Kenya. So I can't imagine that, you know. And she spoke French fluently. She spoke Swahili fluently. So anytime she was in a country, she lived in Kenya, in Congo, in Mauritius, in Madagascar, where she's buried, she would find it important to be able to learn the language so that she can engage with the people. So for me, that was also life-changing, and also a lesson that if you want to engage with the people and you want to engage from the heart, you need to learn their language. So I found that to be interesting. And the fact that in the 1960s, when she started with her journey, she actually had to go to Mauritius. So for some of us, you know, traveling it's nerve-wracking. It's something that you don't do. If you are born in Mzinto, you do everything in Mzinto and you die there. But for her, it was not like that. She was in Rome, she was in the UK, she was in France, you know, and this lady was not afraid. She was not afraid to engage with the people and to learn different things about the people. I think what is also interesting in the book is that also in Congo, when they had the war there, they asked her, they gave her an option to come back home, and she said, no, this is what I chose. So if it calls for me to die here with the people, I will do that. Fortunately, she didn't die in Congo, but she did die in Madagascar when she had COVID-19. So it's proved true. What they say, there's a saying where they say, socially meaning that a soldier dies in the work that they are doing. Yeah, so I found her life story to be interesting. Someone who decided at the age of 8 that she wanted to become a religious sister and died doing that, because some of us were in search of our life purpose and we never find it. Sometimes we find it, and it's difficult to stay on course.
And if I may ask, when did your aunt die?
She died in July 2017, in 2020.
So you've explained to us what this book is about, but what inspired you? As you said, you're not Catholic, and in the book you sort of like highlight what it takes to become a nun. You highlight also the structures of the Catholic Church. So what inspired you?
I think as a young child, my grand aunt, she would come home. So my mom obviously she was Roman Catholic and her family. So my mom would tell us about her aunts. There is a nun. And I remember when I was young, like I'm 8, 13, 11, I don't know what is a nun. I see this lady, she would come, she would project to us pictures of her when she was in Switzerland, when she's doing her missions, and I really didn't understand. Until one day, I'm old, I'm an adult, and again, I see my grand aunts. So I've always written, like I would write in my journal, I would write all over the show, but never publish anything. So I wanted to write, to tell stories, and because I read, and I wanted to write. So one day when we're in the kitchen and she's visiting me, I asked her, so Granny, how are things? How what is life like? I'm trying to understand her and understand her life story. So when she tells me about her life, I find that I still have more questions, And then I started telling her that, I would love to write. And then she also told me that, yes, we are also encouraged as religious sisters to tell our stories, to inspire people that want to become nuns, to share our story and to share how we have been blessed by God. So for me, it was inspiring at the time to learn about her and watch and her life path. And I was still like shy because she's like she's my grand aunt, so, and I also didn't want to offend her. I might ask her, I didn't know if I could ask her. Could I ask her about dating? Could I ask her if she ever fell in love? Could I ask her if how did she deal with sexual feelings and things like that? Could I I was not sure at the time, but I thought, let me give it a try.
Very beautiful indeed. But now, still talking about the book, I know that you mentioned that this book, people can also find some of the poems that your grand aunt would write. Talk to us about those poems in a nutshell. What do people expect?
In a nutshell, what people can expect is that as she said, the poems, they describe her life story. They're definitely, she wrote actually the poems in French. And before she died, they were actually not even translated. And she kept saying to me, I've been trying to translate them and I have not gotten the time. So we translated them and definitely I was able to read them. So the poems are about, I think one of them is about the time when her sister passed away, Octavia, in 1999. And they are also about Mary of the Passion. They are also about Saint Francis, and they are also about the FMM Institute itself. So she's praising the love of God and how it has impacted on her life.
Well, Mandisi,
Yes.
Marcia, thank you so much for talking to us about this. It's a very interesting book. And of course, as you mentioned, it's not just for Catholics, but it's for anyone who's interested, who wants to learn about religious vocations, who wants to learn about the Catholic Church. So, any last words before I let you go?
Yes. So this is the book. Yes. Yes. My last words would be that people should definitely read the book, even if you are not a Roman Catholic, because there is also a chapter where my granny talks about, I think it was a training program, I'll put it simply like that she attended in London, and where they were talking about forgiveness, how you can build a relationship and you learn to forgive other people. And she highlights there, I didn't mention this in the book because there was a lot of things that I had said, but she said that they were taught that if you are angry, instead of just expressing your anger at that particular moment, you can take a towel and you can squeeze the towel and transfer all your anger in the towel. So for me, eventually I learned that religious sisters, religious people, they are as human as we are. And as people, we should not be hard on ourselves and think that if we don't have a direct relationship or a relationship with God that we are conscious of, we are too far off. You know, we are never far off from the Creator. So I would encourage people to read the book, and they will enjoy it. I tell it from a very interesting perspective.
And then lastly, where can people get the book?
Yes, so the book is published on Amazon, but also in South Africa, people they've been saying to me, no, they don't understand why they must go get the book overseas when the author is here at home. So I am printing the book. By end of September, I should have the copies with me, and I will make it available at Sister Pauline's bookstore here in Joburg and also in Durban. And I would also sell the book from my website, www.marciamandisi.mabaso.co.za. You should definitely be able to get it in those different places.
And what will be the price, if I may ask?
Yes, so you know, people should get the book because on Amazon it's $35, which is around 602 in South Africa. So now I'm selling it for $350. You see, excluding delivery. Delivery is 99 rands. So it's still below, way below the $35 on Amazon.
If I go to the online bookshop, I get the book for $350. That's a gift. So yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Marcia. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Wishing you all of the best and keep it up. Your name is very familiar. Were you working with Sydney Law at one point?
No, I work with I've practiced human resources. I practiced for 10 years at the CSR.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Marcia. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing that book at the Polands.
Yes, thank you so much, Sheila. I really appreciate it.